I've always had a rule, never go cheap on transportation, toilet paper, or quarterbacks. Spend your money. But, I see this all the time, that in life, if you and your wife decide, we are going to buy a really nice house. We're stretching it a little bit, but it's a really, really nice house, and we're going to live in this thing for a long time. Then don't buy a cheap chandelier. Mm-hmm. Don't spend the money on a Mercedes and then put bumper stickers on it. If you're going to go on a nice vacation, don't eat Twizzlers. Go out, spend money, eat right. You spent $10,000 on the vacation in Hawaii. Play it big. The Minnesota Vikings, Rick Spielman, the GM, said, we got a Super Bowl winning roster here. I'm not going with Sean Hill. 2 weeks ago, when Minnesota lost Teddy Bridgewater, their GM, Rick Spielman, said, I'm going to go trade a number one pick, and I'm going to go get Sam Bradford. Why? Because you have to give this Vikings roster a chance. It is super young and super talented. They were the best team on the field last night. And I was talking to Jimmy Johnson yesterday, one of the great talent evaluators of all time off the air here at Fox. And I said, what do you make of Bradford as a player? He goes, I love him. He's got big arms, 6'5". It's like, yeah. He just has had a bunch of coordinators and gotten beat up physically. But he's a guy that's been undercoached in the NFL. He's a guy that's had to take over rebuilding teams. Okay, this Minnesota roster is not rebuilding. You cannot buy a cheap chandelier for this house. This is a Mercedes roster. You don't put bumper stickers on it. This is Hawaii, the beach, a week with your girlfriend. Nothing against Sizzler. Take her out to a nice place. You spent $10,000 in the hotel room. Sam Bradford's the classic NFL story. His talent needs the right situation. He had Chip Kelly. Numbers were good. He wins a game last night, by the way. Sean Hill doesn't win. Sean Hill does not win that game. You win it because of Sam Bradford. And you're arguing he's not worth a number one pick. 30% of number one picks are a bust. This year's a prime example. One or two rookies this entire first round so far this year you've looked at and said, there's a receiver for Cleveland. The Browns been pretty good. And Will Fuller for Houston wide receiver has been pretty good. Should be noted he's got a star receiver on the other side, so nobody can double it. Outside of that, Joey Bosa hasn't played. Ezekiel Elliott has been underwhelming. Jared Goff is a backup, just dressed for the first time this week. Jalen Ramsey of Jacksonville supposed to be great. That Jacksonville defense gets worse by the quarter. You give up. When you get a roster, when you get a house, when you're on vacation, when you get a car, how do you treat your kids? They're great kids. Don't go cheap on education. Put them in a school they can meet people. Put them in a school they're challenged. I mean, it's like Mike Zimmer said last night. You ask NFL people about Sam Bradford. You ask GMs and coaches. I'm texting them. They're all like, oh, no, Bradford's, yeah. Reportedly, because we have a lot of guys here at Fox who know people on the Vikings staff, Sam Bradford got to Minnesota, and the first day at practice, all the players are like, oh, okay. Last night, the most accurate quarterback on the field to me looked like Sam Bradford. He'd been there 2 weeks. Brand new offense. The timing's not great. He was as accurate or more accurate than Aaron Rodgers. Come on now. You absolutely give up a number one pick if you are a Super Bowl capable roster. You don't cheat these Vikings players and these fans.